Okay. Hi, guys. I'm Eric Mihok, as Dr. C introduced me, and I am a member of Engineers Without Borders, which is a club at UConn. It's all led by students. We have a president, vice president, and Dr. Malore as our advisor, so we go to him for guidance with the club. What this club does basically is our goal is building a better world through engineering projects that empower communities world uh, to meet their basic human rights and needs. So we have three projects going on right now across around the world, I guess. Um, if you could get to the next.
Yeah, yeah, there we go.
Our first project is actually right near UConn in Willimantic, Connecticut, and it's Click, which is a community garden and kitchen in Willimantic. Our job there was to uh, put in place a drip irrigation system to water the garden, where local farmers can sell their products and grow their food, and they can also use the kitchen to produce the fruits and vegetables into marketable goods right there on the property. So this is a picture of the kitchen. And we also did some renovations inside the kitchen in addition to the irrigation. Our second project is in Peru. It's the Peru Sanitation Initiative, and we work with a community called Abra Malaga. Uh, it's a small village pretty high up in the mountains with under 1,000 residents, and they're spread out pretty far, and a lot of them don't have access to toilets, so they end up resorting to open defecation, and we've been helping them for the last 3 years. So we did a trip to Peru to do some analysis around the area to figure out where we could put a latrine for them. And then last summer in 2019, a group of engineers from UConn went and built this latrine that you can see on the middle picture. Um, and then the last project that we just got actually over the winter is in Hartford, Connecticut, for energy auditing. The city of Hartford is trying to make itself more energy efficient. They were recently rated 43.5 out of 100 on the clean energy score. They're trying to raise that number. So we have been asked to help in analyzing the data that the buildings give out. Um, so that's one of our new projects. And we're also looking to take on another international project in the fall. Next, please. So why would you want to join EWB if you do end up coming to UConn? We do networking opportunities. We have a workshop every semester within the club where uh, like the more experienced people look over our LinkedIn profiles, help us with resumes, and it's really a good community where you can uh, meet other engineers and try and you work on projects together. So all of our projects, like I said, are led by the students, um, and it's a lot of uh, work, but it's a good um, like practice, I guess, for the real world after you graduate. So you have some experience working with a group of engineers on a project, meeting deadlines for those projects, like doing paperwork, sending them into EWB Central. Um, and then at the end of the day, it's fun. You're with friends, and uh, like we get to go around the world to work on these projects and help communities, and it feels good at the end of the day. Next, please. And then if anyone has any questions, feel free to write them in the chat.
And you can ask any questions, to Eric if you want. Like, Eric is a sophomore, and so he has his freshman year, very fresh. And so, if you have any questions about the experience, or you might, what you might expect, feel free to talk to him to and ask questions.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I don't see. Let's see. Oh yeah, there is a question about do you live in a learning community?
I do not. I lived in Northwest Residence Hall freshman year and then in Busby this year. Um, and then the second question, is it usually during the school year? I'm traveling for projects or summer also. Uh, I was gonna go to Peru this May actually to uh, continue working with the community there, but obviously that trip was canceled due to the current situation. But usually it would be over summer breaks is when we usually travel.
And I have advised Engineers Without Borders in the past, and when I did that, we took two trips. One was over Thanksgiving break, and the other one was over spring break. So as far as I know, typically trips are not scheduled in conflict with the academic year.
Mhm.
So one thing that I want to say about the learning community question is that I if you have the opportunity to do that, I would recommend it. What I have heard from students who are in the engineering house, and other learning communities, is that's a really great way to like feel connected to, and being part of the engineering community, because in your first year, a lot of the times, like, you take all these like big classes, and then you don't know a lot of the people in your major, you don't know a lot of other engineers, so you have like the big engineering 1000 lecture. And so being part of a learning community is definitely a good way to kind of like be part of a smaller group. And I think that being part of Engineers Without Borders or the Steel Bridge or all these other student groups kind of like does the same thing, like puts you in a place where you're with like-minded individuals and you make friends and you kind of like find yourself in a, in like a nice community.
Yeah, I have friends that are in the engineering house learning community, and based on what they've told me, I would also recommend trying to get into that if possible. Because that way you're with a group of kids that or students that are taking similar classes as you, and they can help you out with homework if you have questions, and it's late at night and the homework's almost due. Um, but also the dorms that they live in are, I would say, much nicer than any other dorms on campus right now, if nothing else.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.